voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Good to be with you here on a Friday. Matt and Brett here, 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. Brett, how are you today?
All right. How about you?
Okay, just one really quick sports thing I want to mention. Rod Carew apparently the New York Daily News apparently came on out and said that they should put, Rod Carew is out there advocating for Pete Rose to go into the Hall of Fame. I couldn't disagree more. Did you ever read about the games that he supposedly gambled on?
I haven't done much extensive looking into what he exactly did. I know the bare bones story.
He was a manager of the team, and he gambled on his team. And he, I think it's been confirmed that he gambled on his team losing. And there were games which apparently he bet on where there were some real questionable decisions in regards to pitching and stuff like that. And okay, so I'll never forget. I had someone explain to me, and I agree with this wholeheartedly. They said, "Well, why do you have an athlete who basically, will do, say, cocaine or something like that, some heavy drug, not steroids, but just a heavy drug?" And he said, "Why do they not get treated harsher than, say, Pete Rose or someone who's taking steroids?" And the guy said very quickly, without even skipping a beat, he said, "Well, you're actually talking about the integrity of the game. If you can't go to a baseball game or any sporting event and, not feel as if the game is already fixed, well, then you've got professional wrestling at that point. And there's, that's, and not that a lot of people like professional wrestling, but that's not a professional sports league. And this is why they came down hard on the cheaters after the White Sox scandal back in 1918, is that if the people are questioning whether or not the game is already fixed, if the outcome is already determined, well, then you don't have a sporting event. You have something else. You have theater. Same thing goes with steroids, is that, at least in the individual player, if you're basically putting on a metal exoskeleton to go out there and play that allows you to hit a whole bunch of home runs and be faster on the base pass and throw with further, distance or strength, well, no one would allow you on the team. But if you do it with steroids and do it on the inside of your body, it's okay. No, you have to have, pretty harsh standards for cheating. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, generally you do. I mean, especially if you're going to have gambling on these sports, you can't really have them be predetermined ahead of time. That's going to cause major, major issues.
Well, and that was Carew's argument. Over in Cincinnati, apparently there's a sports book already in the Cincinnati Reds Stadium. It's like, and he says, "Well, you got gambling already here." I said, "Well, yeah, but that's gambling on the game. It's not the people involved with the game gambling." And by the way, can I just say, am I crazy to think that at some point, one of the major sports leagues, we are going to find out that once this sports gambling goes nationwide, that an insane amount of money went to a handful of players on a given team? Could be NHL, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, that a game was fixed, or a series was fixed, or a championship was fixed, and that they basically raked in the money. I have zero doubt within, say, 20 years that we'll have a case where an entire series is once again thrown into question, and then people will start asking the question of whether or not sports gambling is harmless or not.
Yeah, like kind of already did with Tim Donaghy. If you saw the Netflix documentary on that, it's just crazy the desperate lengths the NBA went to not have that case go to trial, just out of fear of what could be uncovered by the other side.
Well, and I always said this about the NBA, especially during the late 90s and early zeros, was there were plenty of games where, I mean, it's interesting. There's this whole thing right now with LeBron James getting hacked, and he did get hacked in that Boston Celtics game a few days ago, and he's throwing a fit about it. Well, he's throwing a fit about it because he didn't get the call, and he's always gotten those calls. I have seen the Lakers, especially during their prime years, hack the living daylights out of other teams, and the refs swallow the whistles. I mean, there always were these cases where I'm like, it's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of the NBA, is because, frankly, I watched numerous times where it clearly was a intentional no call or a blown call, And I just sort of said, this seems more fixed. And so when they had a referee that was gambling on the games, I said to myself, I don't think he's the only one. I don't think he's the only one. So, anyway, what do you think Pete Rose should be in the Hall?
Probably not at this point, just because if he was a manager and gambling on his own games, that's not good. I don't know if you could separate that out and put him in as a player instead of a manager, but that's kind of complicated. So
yeah,
probably not.
I don't think. Yeah, I think it's if you challenge the integrity of the game itself, then you don't get into the Hall of Fame. End of story. 952-946-6205. So this morning, I woke up to a plethora of far-right trolls on my social media pages coming after me because I was standing up for Ilhan Omar. And once again, Ilhan Omar yesterday was taken off her committee, not because she wasn't qualified, not because she didn't offer insight, because she was a black Muslim woman. And that is the mentality of the Republicans right now. They've lost I talked about this at length yesterday. They've lost their social media, the societal issue that they campaigned on for 50 years in Roe v. Wade. And so they're basically just going blunt racism. They'll go after black people. And, she is one of the top most despised people within Republican circles because she's a black Muslim woman. Now, and they say, well, they took off Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar. They actually threatened coworkers with violence. Those two actually threatened coworkers with violence. They weren't on committees because they threatened coworkers. But, Ilhan Omar didn't threaten a coworker. And so, it's this new standard. But what happened was after I did this, all these people came on out, and if I may, I want to talk about the stages of grief for the standard Republican troll. Now, social media is a pit anyway. Let's just be honest about it. And the reason why it is a pit is because when I'm walking down the street and I see some guy out there wearing his underwear, screaming about the rays are penetrating my brain, I know enough. Well, I'm going to go to the other side of the street and walk around this guy. I don't want anything to do with him. He's crazy. The problem with social media is that guy, underwear rays in the brain guy, goes out there, gets an attractive ripped ab profile picture from someone else, makes out a fake resume, and all of a sudden he's got legitimacy. Social media makes crazy people look legitimate, and frankly, it makes intelligent people look stupid. I'll be honest with you. That's the problem with social media. And so I've gotten very good in my job after 13 years of this, of identifying very quickly when someone is just clearly troll. First things first, look at their profile. If they've got 6 followers, or their profile name has 17 numbers in a row, there's your clue. But they were coming after me. Now, what these crazy, psychopathic, stupid morons really are looking for is validation. That they're the guy that when Bruce Willis does the speech at the beginning of Armageddon is like, I just digging rocks. All you people out there, you guys look down on me because all I do is I'm a rock digger and I dig rocks. And you guys need to respect me because I respect you. Funny story. The entire rest of that movie is Bruce Willis and his crew of rock diggers consistently disrespecting every other person on the planet. It just is a fact. Go watch the damn thing. But that's kind of their whole thing. These were the 20-time losers no one in town thought had anything of any value. And Trump came along and said, it's not you, it's all them. And so they ran to social media to where they looked legitimized. And they tried initially, they'll try to let me debate my point. And it was very clear that, I remember when I first started on Twitter and stuff, and these guys would come back and forth. And it became a point where even though I was clearly contradicting them, they never would ever admit they were wrong. And they just jumped to the next topic and would go away from there. what they do now, so they're looking for legitimacy. When they get challenged, a lot of times they run away. On a case like this, they don't want their narrative broken, like with Ilhan Omar, because she's the bad person. Why aren't you acknowledging that? That's kind of the argument that they're making. She's not the bad person, FYI. She's basically a victim here of harassment in the workplace. And so she goes on out there. She'll do her best, to kind of put a brave face on there. But these people just don't want to let it go. They don't want anyone else to have a differing opinion. So they come at me, and it's gotten to the point where they've gotten desperate. And what I mean by desperation is most of the troll comments I saw this morning had much more to do with vile, disgusting personal attacks on her that they're not worth repeating. They're disgusting. They're disturbing, but it's what these people have become. And part of that is this. They know Trump and a lot of Republicans, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Paul Gosar, they know that these people are truly horrible, horrible human beings. They know that they're endorsing and following people who are the worst of the worst. But what they're doing is then they vilify, they create, but this person, Hillary Clinton in this case, she kills babies and drinks their blood in the basement of a pizza parlor. That's actually something they have insisted on. Joe Biden is he basically is sexually trafficking minors across the globe. I mean, these are these lies they create. They create this villain that is so bad. You see, is sure, Donald Trump's not perfect, but it's not baby eating bad. Like, Jesus Christ. This is where their logic problem runs into. And I don't really have a lot of patience for it. And so I run these people around, and they get into this fervor, and and that's the sign they don't really have anywhere else to go. When they get out there and they're just making these outrageous claims that, that Ilhan Omar's really Adolf Hitler, who's been genetically kept in Argentina, and they grew a new cells out of him, and it became Ilhan Omar. That's kind of this made up lie that they'll run with. And you're like, God, you people are psychopaths. Like I said, the guy in his underwear screaming on the street. And now you get to see that. Here is the problem. And I'm going to read a story from you. And it was funny that as I was dealing with these trolls, and I mean, they were, and you're like, wow, really? Wow. I read this story and I said, this is the problem that we have. And this is kind of the theme I've had all week long, where I've talked about there's a real problem within the Republican Party right now. Let me read this story from Raw Story. Republicans in Arizona suffered a string of brutal defeats this past fall after a string of hardline Trump-backed MAGA candidates flamed out against Democratic opponents. However, Politico reports that the Arizona GOP isn't responding to this by trying to rehabilitate its image, and is instead getting even angrier and doubling down on the election denialism that cost the party winnable races in 2022. To illustrate this, the report notes the party recently considered resolutions to censor Republicans who were involved in past elections on the grounds that those Republicans were part of a conspiracy to help Democrats win. Did you catch that? They want to censor Republicans involved in past elections because if the Democrat won, clearly the Republican wasn't really a Republican. They were in on the fix. Wow, these people are broken, but this is where they're at. They have to create a false narrative that validates the reality they want to be true. They're 50-time losers. They're morons. They're the people that no one respected, and they're desperately trying to hold on to any legitimacy Trump gave them. Ta-da! Here's one guy, one particularly attendee stood at the meeting and said this. And this is on one side, it's like, wow, you're crazy. On the other side, there's a warning we should pay attention to here. Quote, "We should duct tape people to a tree in a dog park so the dogs can pee on them," the man declared. And then when they're there for a few hours and they have to go to the bathroom in their pants, they can wallow in their own blank. To rousing applause from the crowd. Did you hear that? I mean, on one side, it's like, wow, You are a broken person that this is where you're at. You're sure not Christian. And I mean, and once again, all these people say, I love Jesus. They don't. They have no idea what the Bible says. They just basically they'll see a football player on Sunday saying, thank you, God, and they'll say, see, I like that football player, and that football player likes God. I'm Christian. That's what they do. That's who these people are. But I also want to point out the fact that this was received with positivity. These people are not going to do what they really need to do, which is to look in the mirror and say, I am the cause of, not me, Matt McNeil, but themselves as they look in the mirror, I am the cause of all the problems in my life. If I want to fix my problems, I need to fix my own damn life. I shouldn't be sitting here blaming black people I don't know, blaming Muslim people I don't know, blaming the LGBTQ community who don't affect me in any capacity whatsoever. I should probably just basically get my own damn house in order. Nope, they're not going to do that. These people are so determined because, once again, 20-time losers, stupidest people on the freaking planet. Trump knew exactly what he was going after when he started talking to them. It's not you, it's them. Because these people have gotten legitimacy when they should have never gotten legitimacy. And they will go to their grave holding on to that legitimacy they think that they're owed. And we didn't look at them and realize their drivelings that they were putting out there weren't actually important political insight. And they got upset about that. And then when we started pointing out the facts, they started saying, no, that's not true. And we pointed that out. And then they got into these vile comments. And by the way, I've had a few beautiful shot backs at these guys, which just, hey, should I call your mom to have her come pick you up? And by the way, tell her I said hi. That sort of thing. Because I'm a jackass, but I like being a jackass sometimes. But these people are so belligerent about what they want to do and their fantasies about violence against their opponents that we're going to have, and without a doubt in my mind, probably sometime in the next 5 years, a violent attack on something that is perceived to be democratic, a political candidate's office, a political party's office, a LGBTQ gathering, a drag show, a black awareness, community meeting, something of that nature, where a bunch of these guys are going to kick open the door, get their easily attained assault weapons, slaughter 30 or 40 people, and then proudly claim we're doing this because we've got to start the Civil War somewhere. Because they're so desperate to hold on to the fake legitimacy they've been given by Trump and the Republicans. And when I read this, I say, tape them to a tree and let the dogs pee on them. And then they can poop themselves. That's not, it's easy to sort of dismiss that. Folks, we are seeing this manifest in our lifetime. We are seeing this manifest in the last few years. They are the spurned ex-boyfriend who say, fine, if you're not going to love me this way, I'm going to make you love me. And that is where this is at. And it's kind of from the same exact corner of the mind that it comes from. I guarantee you when that slaughter does happen, a lot of Republicans were, I don't know where you get the idea that when I said these people were trying to kill your way of life, that someone took that as they were trying to kill their way of life and slaughtered them. And I guarantee you there'll be Republicans who will come on out there. It's like, hey, I don't believe in mass murder, but, and you're going to be like, holy God. I don't know how you stop this outside of, you have to start treating these people like the threat that they are, because the longer you allow this to stew by just sort of saying, oh, I don't want to deal with that, I'll let those people be like that, the more this is gaining more and more traction. And considering how many freaking guns there are in this country and how easy it is to get, I'm really concerned about where this is going. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
This is Ross Stadheim, partner at MJSB Employment Justice. When you've been wronged at work or something just doesn't feel right, it's hard to know what to do next. Our firm can help. We pride ourselves on communication and listening to our brave clients to obtain their own brand of justice. When you hire MJSB Employment Justice, you're not just a number. You're a valued client who will be represented by one of our experienced and accomplished partners every step of the way. That's our promise.
Be heard. You deserve better. Contact us today at mjsbjustice.com.
SeniorCommunities.guide is your free online website to find housing, care, and resources for seniors in Minnesota. Use the powerful, award-winning search tool to quickly improve your search. You will have all the information you need to contact providers directly without any hassle. Start your search now at SeniorCommunities.guide and follow us on Facebook for interesting articles, helpful advice, and how older adults are changing the world.
SeniorCommunities.guide.
Do you have a car you no longer need but don't want to jump through all the hoops to sell yourself? Rudy Luther Toyota can help with their We Buy program. It's really simple. Go to rudyluthertoyota.com, click on the We Buy link, type in some basic information, and Rudy Luther will get you an instant and accurate offer. Then set an appointment, and after a quick verification of the vehicle, Rudy Luther will set up your payment with a check on the spot in most cases. We Buy. It's that simple. For more information or to sell your vehicle, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com.
Hi, this is Frank Brown, owner of Minuteman Press Uptown, Minnesota's only minority-owned union printing company. But we are not just another print shop. We are a marketing and promotion company that has over 100 years of experience in helping clients not only with their printing needs, but also with their marketing strategies. We offer marketing ideas for clients from targeted direct mailings to digital geofencing. I am passionate about helping businesses grow.
Frank and his team at Minuteman Press Uptown have been great to work with. They always come with fresh marketing and promotion ideas that help us grow. But that is not the only reason I choose to work with them. Check out their Google reviews. I choose Minuteman Press Uptown because they match the values of AM 950. They pay above livable wages, stand up for social, racial, and economic justice. Call Minuteman Press Uptown at 612-870-0777 or visit mpuptown.com. See the difference they can make with your company. They print everything.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. I want to, we're going to have, we got a new segment here. I'm going to let, Brett's got some music here. Let's get ready for it. The new segment is, hey neighbor, what the hell? Any music?
Yeah, we'll get that in just a second here. The
All right.
computer is being more than a little slow right now.
That's all right. It's okay. We'll discuss this at the next
Here.
production meeting here. There you go. Hey neighbor, what the hell? This is a shockingly going to be probably a consistent report here in regards to things that have been going on in regards to the neighboring states where weird things are going on. We're going to start off with the story of what a relatively shocking story. I think we get the point with the music now. Okay, there we go.
More music. All right.
Okay, no. Well, maybe a little bit here. Maybe in just a little bit.
Okay, all right.
That's beautiful. I could not have picked a better cut of music. Thank you very much for that. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I want to go to Wisconsin. Scott Bauer from the AP putting out this story. A newly released audio recording offers a behind-the-scenes look at how former President Trump's campaign team in a pivotal battleground state knew they'd been outflanked by Democrats in the 2020 presidential election. But even as they acknowledged defeat, they pivoted to allegations of widespread fraud that were ultimately debunked repeatedly by election officials in the courts. Once again, the importance of this audio is that it shows in the days after the election in 2020, Republicans knew they had lost, knew it, that they had been outplayed, that Wisconsin had gone to the Democrats, which I'll get to. There's a very large question at the end of this. The audio from November 5th, 2 days after the election, surfacing as Trump again seeks the White House. The Wisconsin political operatives in the strategy session, even his Democratic turnout efforts there. The audio centers on Andrew Iverson, who is the head of the Trump campaign in the state. Here's the deal. Combs is going to continue to fan the flame, and we'll get the word out about the Democrats trying to steal the election. We'll do whatever they need. Just be on standby if there's any stunts we need to pull, said Iverson. Basically admitting, because you'll hear from other points here that they knew that this was all made up, and these were stunts. Iverson is now the Midwest Regional Director for the Republican National Committee. He deferred questions to the RNC because he doesn't really have any defense in this. The former campaign official and Republican operative who provided the copy of the recording, the AP was in the meeting and recorded it. The operative is not authorized to speak publicly about it. So this was recorded in private and now being shared. Biden defeated Trump by nearly 21,000 votes in Wisconsin in 2020, a result that has withstood the independent partisan audits and reviews. Well, no, I mean, I want to say this. You're saying, well, we've double checked this. This is like some idiot celebrity screaming about vaccines and autism and then saying, hey, we went out there and spent millions and millions of dollars to prove that this isn't true. No. You can go back to the point was there was no evidence this was true in the first place. So, I get we did our due diligence, but no, there was no reason to question this. And don't take my word for it. Take the word of the Republican operatives. At the end of the day, this operation received more votes than any of the Republican in Wisconsin history, Iverson said. Say what you want. Our operation turned out Republican or DJT supporters. Democrats have got 20,000 more on us out of Dane County and other shenanigans in Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Dane. That's a lot of people who can learn from this campaign. The meeting showcases another juxtaposition of what Republican officials knew about the election results and what Trump and his closest allies were saying publicly as they pushed the lie of the stolen election. Trump was told by his attorney general there was no sign of widespread fraud, but yet they keep pushing it, and they still push it today. At one point, the operatives laugh over needing more black voices for Trump. Iverson also references the efforts to engage with black voters. We ever talked to black people before? I don't think so, he said, inciting laughter from others in the room. Wow. Another speaker at the recording with Iverson is identified as the source of the GOP operative, Clayton Henson. At this time, Henson was the regional director for the RNC in charge of Wisconsin and other Midwestern states. He gave a post-mortem in signs of the election, raising Republican turnout. Henson specifically references Democratic turnout in Dane County, which includes Madison, the state capital, and is a liberal stronghold in the state. A record high 80% of the voting age population cast ballots in the county, which Biden won with 76% of the vote. Hats off to them for what they did in Dane County. You have to respect that, Henson said. Here is their own guy acknowledging the Democrats outworked them in this election. There's going to be another election in a couple of years, so remember the lessons you learned and be ready to punch back. Henson said he didn't want to make a comment about that meeting. Surprising. It's funny how none of these guys, when they're caught red-handed, we talked about this yesterday with the United Healthcare story. Yeah, none of these guys, when they're caught red-handed and they have no reason in the world why they can't talk, just don't want to say a damn thing anymore, do they? This is disturbing, to say the least. And it's disturbing for a very specific reason. I'm running late here. We'll take a break. I'll come on back. I want to get into the question we have to start asking ourselves after this, because once again, this meeting was attended by Republican operatives in the states. A lot of Republican leaders in Wisconsin were in this meeting when they basically were telling them, we lost fair and square, which gets you, and you can kind of figure out where I'm going from what I just said there. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
I can't shut off this stereo. You got on top.
February is the month for love, but when was the last time you gave your carpet the love and attention it really deserves? If your carpet hasn't been professionally cleaned, you are breathing unhealthy levels of nasty dirt, dander, bacteria, and germs that keep recirculating again and again. And what's worse, you're going to be stuck inside breathing that nasty stuff for months. Lucky for you, Zero Res is going to spread the love for you and your home with their Love Your Rug special. Get 3 rooms, Zero Resified from the Twin Cities' #1 carpet cleaner starting at just $119. Plus, this month only, they are throwing in a free hallway to sweeten the deal. But hurry, this deal won't last long. And because love has no limits, Zero Res is going to take $75 off your air duct cleaning. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go online at ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
Hey, it's Tom telling you how All Energy Solar can make you see green in 2023. Fossil fuel prices will continue to rise this year, so lock in an energy rate with a new system from All Energy Solar. Solar panels from All Energy Solar last 25 to 30 years, giving you stable energy costs for decades to come. And besides solar panels, All Energy Solar can also help with solar battery storage and electric car charging stations. For 2023, many tax incentives are available, and All Energy Solar can walk you through the entire process. The Inflation Reduction Act included an extension and increase to the federal solar tax credit. Plus, many local utilities and communities in Minnesota offer solar rebates. But don't delay. Many local incentives are claimed on a first-come, first-served basis, meaning if you wait until the traditional spring construction season, those incentives will likely be gone. So make 2023 your greenest year ever, both environmentally and financially. Get a free no-obligation assessment from All Energy Solar by visiting allenergysolar.com.
Hi, I'm Mary T. of the Mary T. family of companies. Our new Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care is a bold reimagining of what assisted living can be. Our emphasis is on creative meals, outdoor walking paths, and a spectrum of restorative therapies and activities. We are founded on a history of care. We are dedicated to enriching lives. Learn more about Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care by visiting marytinc.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 4, tonight partly cloudy with a temp rising to 9, and Saturday partly sunny with a high near 30. Now is the best time to switch to solar. The electrical grid has limited space, so don't delay before someone takes your spot. If you'd like to learn if solar is right for you, check out All Energy Solar's free winter webinar series. Visit allenergysolar.com/webinar to register for an upcoming event.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. So basically, we have audio from Wisconsin, a state that put forward, the Republican Party of Wisconsin seems to have put forward fake electors because they kept saying this election was fraudulent. And we have audio from 2 days after the election, where the leaders of the campaign in Wisconsin are admitting to all the Republicans in the meeting room, well, we lost fair and square. Dane County came out, Democrats outworked us, we lost. End of story. Now, once again, I would be remiss if I did not bring up the one line there that he gets to here. Here's the deal. Comms is going to continue to fan the flames. We need to get a word about Democrats trying to steal the election. We'll do whatever they need. Just be on standby if there are any stunts we need to pull, which is very clear. We are going to try to contest this election, even though these same people are admitting they know they lost. At what point do we charge these people with treason? Because what you've got here, what this seems to be evidence of, is the knowledge that they knew they lost this election in Wisconsin. They knew it. They knew it crystal clear. And yet they still went out there and created fake electors. We're going to try to overthrow the election. That's treason. And that's treason. At what point are we not charging members of the Wisconsin Republican Party with treason? Because they actively tried to overthrow the government of the United States, tried to overthrow a legitimate election in the United States. Like I said in the first second, you don't start treating these people as they should be treated. You can't be surprised when all of a sudden they start shooting up democratic institutions because they want to start a civil war. You've got these guys, what it looks like, dead to rights on treason. Anyone that went through this, was in this meeting, and then tried to put forward fake electors should be arrested and charged with trying to overthrow the government of the United States and locked away for the rest of their freaking lives. Come on, we got to make this is I got to have to admit I'm kind of a little bit that this is not something that's a bigger priority, and why this is not happening, because this is a crime. This is a crime. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Do you have that sound? Do you have that audio, that song once again for "Hey Neighbor, What the Hell"?
Yes, I
All right,
have that ready to go.
We got another one here, so go for it.
Hold on, I just gotta get it on.
Oh, and this music will go perfectly with this story, by the way. Wow, here you go. Just keep this playing for a second here. In a written statement, a staffer alleged that this is a South Dakota senator, state senator. Her name is Julie Fry Mueller. Get ready, kids. The wacky fun begins. She went to her to talk about a proposed bill about license plates. The staffer then said, after the conversation about the bill, Fry Mueller asked about her child, and the conversation turned to vaccines. The staffer then alleges that Fry Mueller said the staffer's baby could get Down syndrome or autism, or even die because of childhood vaccinations. By the way, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, vaccinations do not cause autism. And when the staffer informed the senator she was using formula instead of breastfeeding, when the senator asked, Fry Mueller then allegedly told the staffer how the staffer's husband could suck on the staffer's breasts to get milk to come out. According to the complaint, she proceeded to provide hand gestures to her chest area and motioned to her husband to see if he agreed. Apparently, the husband smiled and nodded. Let's hear some more of that music, huh? Hey, South Dakota, what the hell, man? I think it's let me go through this, because I read this and I was like, what in the hell? Oh my God. A redacted transcript of the State Select Committee on Discipline and Expulsions interview with the staffer who alleged she was harassed by Senator Julie Fry Mueller was released on Thursday night. In the 30-page document, the staffer told the committee she never anticipated for the complaint to get into the news, that she was fearful she might have to leave her job because of the attention she received. She feared other lawmakers may not want to work with her in the future. The staffer's name was redacted as part of the document, and the testimony had been documented behind closed doors for an hour. Although she was reinstated to the Senate on Wednesday, Fry Mueller of Rapid City, I'll get to that in a second, was ultimately censored. The staffer added Fry Mueller had previously made her uncomfortable with comments, but Fry Mueller had crossed the line when she made comments about the staffer's son possibly dying from vaccinations. At the end of the day, by the way, you want to talk about how, once again, the validation that Trump gave these clowns is so that Donald Trump said it could happen. You can't vaccinate your kid. Dear Lord. And by the way, and what kind of boss tells anyone you can't go on out there and get your kid vaccinated or else your kid's going to die? Dear Lord. At the end of the day, I did allow her to say things that made me uncomfortable, the staffer stated, adding she had gone to the deputy director of the Legislative Research Council, another woman, to report what happened. Unfortunately, this time it involved my son. I could not let that slide. The husband was in the meeting when she starts talking about having her husband, not the senator's, but the staffer's husband, address her breasts to get breastfeeding going again. Wow. The staffer who has worked for them had for an enclosed amount of years said this was her second job. She said the staffer, she views all 105 lawmakers who make up the South Dakota legislature as her bosses. She is a friendly because of the employee-employer relationship. She said she is never friends, though, with Fry Mueller, as the senator had thought them to be. She added it was never a girlfriend-to-girlfriend kind of chat either. I did not see Fry Mueller outside of this job, the staffer said in an hour-long testimony. I did not hang out or go out to eat with her or anything like that. There is no text message that would prove that. There is no emails. I have never seen her in public outside of this building, so I don't know why my friendliness in my job is construed that I'm her friend. That's a very valid point. The staffer told the 9 members of the committee, her lawyer, Fry Mueller, and her attorneys and husband that she hadn't immediately reported Fry Mueller. It was only after conversations with the staffer's husband and the mother-in-law that she determined the interaction had crossed the line. That's where I first conveyed these things, and I realized how violated I felt and how disgusted I felt with myself that my body parts would be talked about. Stephen Haugard, Fry Mueller's attorney, requested the staffer's employment record and asked if she made harassment accusations. The record request was denied by Senator David Wheeler, a Republican from Huron, who chaired the committee and directed the staffer not to answer the question that had previous harassment. The staffer's lawyers, though, asked if the staffer had ever been harassed in the workplace, and she had denied it. So you have this. It should be mentioned. Let's see here. The story from, and this was on February 1st, the South Dakota State Senate voted 33-1 on Wednesday. One? God, South Dakota. What the hell, man? The Senate voted 33-1 on Wednesday to censor and to reinstate Senator Julie Fry Mueller after the Senate Select Committee of Discipline and Expulsion finished their investigation into the interaction the Rapid City Republican had with the legislative staffer. She had been stripped of her committee assignments and suspended from her duties in the Senate as a result of the conversation surrounding childhood vaccinations and breastfeeding. As part of the recommendations, her contact with legislative staff, including interns and pages, has been limited. She'll have to work with the director of Legislative Research Council. The action comes after the Select Committee voted on Wednesday afternoon to adopt a draft report that outlined the steps taken against Fry Mueller. Senator Wheeler, who chaired that Senate committee, said the censure was an appropriate means of discipline because it shows all senators their conduct with legislative employers must be above reproach. Now, once again, there would be a legitimate argument that someone that crossed the line like this should be thrown out of the Senate. I have zero doubt that Senator Wheeler, if this was a Democratic senator, would indeed demand that person resign their position. Is there anyone that doubts that? This is beyond disgusting. It's a matter of fact, I'm stunned that this story is not more of a nationwide story. I'm stunned that it's not. I can't even comprehend how does any employee how do you look at a woman who's got a child and then start talking about breastfeeding in that manner, and that if you just want the milk to go, grab the hubby? What are you doing? That is, once again, the stupidest people on the planet being given legitimacy by Trump and the clown car brigade. Holy God. It's bad enough. And by the way, this is something that if you talk to people who are in HR, I know a few people that work in HR, these discussions about vaccinations people come in there and they don't realize when they walk into a floor, an environment, and they say, oh, well, hey, let's look around here at all my coworkers. Who here has vaccinated your kids? Your kids are going to die. I mean, that is something that HR people have had to deal with. And especially with COVID, saying when people talking about it's a myth. And there's one friend of mine who worked in, HR as well, who said something to the effect of, we had to let someone go because she kept insisting a coworker's mother who died of COVID really did not die of COVID, and kept telling her to tell us the truth about what happened. What? Yeah. What the hell, South Dakota? I mean, it's funny enough. You go to South Dakota, go to like Rapid City, South Dakota. You go to Rapid City, South Dakota, and you come into that town, and the first thing you notice is the squalor of the mobile home parks, which seem to be everywhere in that town. And on the top of the hill are one or two houses where there are some wealthy people in their gilded mansions looking down on these insanely poor working class town folk. And yet can we get them to come over to Minneapolis for a little bit and see what that you although we have our problems, we don't just have a them and us sort of situation where all the poor people are down in the mobile home park and there's a handful of wealthy people on top of the hill looking down at them, saying, just ignore the poors, just ignore them, they're down there, boo-hoo, just stay down there, stay at the bottom of the hill, boo-boo-hoo. Unbelievable. South Dakota is a mess, and yet they keep voting for Republicans who do stuff like this. Wow. I'll come back and talk a little bit more about this. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Wisconsin, South Dakota. What the hell, man? It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Kelly Tanky.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Tune in to AM 950's newest show, Searching for Service, a show designed to help current and future Rotarians find purpose through service.
We are dedicated to sharing stories, experiences, and opportunities for those searching for purpose, value, and meaning.
But more importantly, connection through community. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. or anytime via podcasts.
It's time to stop searching and start serving.
Let Next Chapter Booksellers help you find the perfect Valentine's Day gift for your significant other. After all, books last longer than flowers and are better for you than chocolate. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making personal recommendations, no matter the taste of your special someone. Plus, they have beautiful cards to add a little something to your gift. So sweeten this year's Valentine's Day with something thoughtful from Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
With the colder weather here, now is the time to get yourself a vehicle that can handle the winter roads at Rudy Luther Toyota. Rudy Luther Toyota has fantastic models that can tackle Minnesota at its blustery worst. The RAV4, Highlander, Land Cruiser, Sequoia, and the Corolla Cross, all of them give you the safe drive you're looking for. And the Sequoia, Highlander, and RAV4 all have a hybrid model. If my Toyota Sienna minivan tackles the snow like a pro, their entire lineup can handle the task with ease. Test drive a Toyota today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 169 and 394 in Golden Valley.
On This Queer Book Saved My Life, we talk with LGBTQ guests about the queer books that saved their lives. On our next episode, we chat with Nancy Agabian about the book In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. It is a memoir about an abusive relationship Carmen had with an ex-girlfriend. Nancy shares how In the Dream House saved her, and then we meet Carmen to discuss the writing of her memoir and how it was like passing a kidney stone, something she needed to do to move on. Listen to This Queer Book Saved My Life every Saturday morning at 7 a.m.
Going back to the story out of South Dakota here. Senator Wheeler, we were able to see the effect of the incident had on the employee. Those who were there could feel the emotional turmoil it caused for her. Senator Tom Pischke, this is the one vote to not discipline the unbelievable inappropriate behavior by Fry Mueller. This body acted way too prematurely, Pischke said. We finally did have some due process with the select committee, but there's still more information to obtain. There's still more things we can find out what happened to the situation. Once again, here you have Pischke basically saying, hey, we're the bosses, they're the employees. The chickie poo doesn't like getting talked that way. The chickie poo can leave and get a different job. And Pischke, I know that's not exactly what you said, but you basically are saying that. Pischke referenced the federal lawsuit that had been filed against the president pro tem, Senator Lee Schoenbeck of Watertown by Fry Mueller. By the way, we should mention some of these names you might find familiar. You remember when their attorney general murdered someone with their car, drinking and driving, it sounds like? Yeah, I remember that. Something like that. I can't remember his drinking. Or distracted driving, and he rammed into the guy, and the guy went flying through the front window and was basically, they found his glasses in the car, and he said, I thought I hit a deer. And the South Dakota Republicans said, yeah, he's okay. Yeah, I remember that. Your party's a freaking mess. Basically, she filed a lawsuit against the Senate pro tem to try to stop the proceedings, but the judge denied the motion on Tuesday to pause the disciplinary proceedings against Fry Mueller. So the lawsuit should be seen as a request for a restraining order without proper notice to Schoenbeck. Minutes after the vote, by the way, this senator, Fry Mueller, was back on the Senate floor participating in Senate activity. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's yeah. You look at what happens in Wisconsin and you look at what's happened in South Dakota. Hey, Minnesota, it ain't perfect, but at least we've got part of the problem that they have in those two states, and I'll say in North Dakota and Iowa as well, is you got really poorly run Democratic parties, because you should be out in every news outlet absolutely taking these guys to task. In Wisconsin, they didn't even run two candidates for the Democratic Party in U.S. House races. In South Dakota, the Democratic Party over there has abandoned large swaths of that state and don't even try to run candidates. Well, this is what you get when you basically acquiesce and allow the Republicans to control that seat with no challenger. You get people in there who are wildly incompetent, 20-time losers who are as dumb as bricks, who are desperate for validation, and who could never basically hold a job doing curly fries at a frickin' Arby's. And yet you, because you don't even challenge them, they get the provenance of going over and being part of the South Dakota freaking legislature. Jesus. I am grateful in Minnesota we have an organized and fighting DFL, because the difference between all these states is that, and granted, Wisconsin's a little different because of the gerrymandering from hell that those people did back in 2010. But in Minnesota, thank God the Democrats are here, because, you know, if you put out a good fight, if you make your message, if you try, well, what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up getting good results. Take a look at all the good things that are happening. The Crown Act got signed today by Tim Walz. Nice. These things are happening because the Democrats in this state fight. And unfortunately, Democrats in these other states, because I don't know why, I have no idea why. They just have given up in some cases, and that's one of the reasons why this is a problem of their own creation. Hour number 2, that's coming up next.
This is New Beginnings, hosted by award-winning broadcaster and speaker Freddie Bell.
Freddie, this generation of the baby boomers, people are living longer, so the baby boomers are taking care of elderly parents.
Let's talk about your health, and specifically, let's talk about Medicare. Our show features the concerns of America's 78 million baby boomers in employment, finance, health and nutrition, and even entertainment.
Join us for New Beginnings, Saturday mornings at 11, brought to you in part by Vision Loss Resources. Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
Your radio station for the Resistance, The David Pakman Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. on AM 950 KTNF St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Jackie Quinn. President Biden's in Philadelphia today talking about replacing lead pipes and also praising a strong jobs report that came out today, with another 500,000 positions added in January, continuing a hiring trend.
We've created 12 million jobs. 12 million jobs since we took office. That's the strongest two-year growth in the history, and by a long shot.
Fed watchers are baffled since anti-inflation measures were expected to soften the job market. The stock market, meanwhile, sank after the report. The president in Philadelphia also gave a shout out to his wife's hometown football team.
Go Eagles, fly Eagles, fly.
Super Bowl Sunday is February 12th. Parts of New England are already experiencing power outages this afternoon, like Connecticut, with several thousand as winds pick up. The region will face bone-chilling temperatures this weekend, and wind chill factor forecasts are going as low as 50 below. The White House says as the Pentagon monitors a surveillance balloon from China flying over the U.S., a planned meeting between Secretary of State Antony Blinken and leaders in Beijing has been canceled.
It was a consensus that it was not appropriate to travel to the People's Republic of China at this time.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. 2 St. Louis police officers and a suspect are recovering today after a shootout following a traffic stop. 2 men have been arrested in connection with last month's massacre at a home in Goshen, California, where a young mother, her infant son, and 4 relatives were killed. Ukraine sports ministers renewed a threat to boycott the games if Russia and Belarus are allowed to compete. He says Kyiv will reach out to other nations asking them to stay away. This is AP News.
Paid for by government.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 50 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-574-6468 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-574-6468. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-574-6468 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-574-6468.
Hi, my name is Frank Brown, owner of Minuteman Press Uptown. As the only minority-owned union printing company in Minnesota, I believe in giving back to the community and standing up for social justice. At Minuteman Press Uptown, we understand Black Lives Matter and know love is love. We're active in the Twin Cities fighting for racial, social, and economic justice. We believe our employees are vital to our success. That's why we pay above living wages with benefits.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Yes, we choose Minuteman Press Uptown because they share our progressive values. But what I've learned with my many years of working with Frank and his team is they are much more than just a print shop. They have helped us with creative marketing ideas and materials. The design team has helped us every step of the way in creating new material. They always come with fresh and unique ideas to help promote AM 950. Call Minuteman Press Uptown at 612-870-0777 or visit mpuptown.com.
2023 is here, and you can make it the year of the Eagle with the National Eagle Center. You and your family can enjoy exciting Eagle experiences, including field trips, private habitat tours, and exclusive behind-the-scenes tours. Meet live eagles up close, view bald eagles and golden eagles in the wild, and receive personal one-on-one education with dedicated and knowledgeable Eagle experts as you journey into the world of eagles like never before. Learn more and plan your unforgettable Eagle experience today at nationaleagleCenter.org/experiences.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 4. Tonight, partly cloudy with a temp rising to 9. And Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 30. Cafe Latte is a hot spot for American eats and house-made desserts in a cafeteria-style setup plus a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte believes ingredients matter, so that's why they never use artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Dine in at the restaurant off Victoria and Grand in St. Paul or place a takeout order at cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour 2 of the show on your Friday. Good to be with you, Matt and Brett today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Wow. I still can't. I read that the first time I read that South Dakota story, I was like, what? There was a time, Brett, when I don't know if you ever remember the episode of Seinfeld, where the woman's name rhymes with a lady's body part, and he could not remember it. Do you remember that episode, perchance?
I don't, unfortunately.
It's
What
hilarious.
season was this one?
Oh, okay, now come on, man.
I love Seinfeld. Now that it's on Netflix, I probably just haven't gotten around to that episode yet. I'm in the middle of trying to get through that series.
Dolores. That's the name is Dolores. No. We said this joke. So we were at a radio station function. This is years ago. This is probably 30, almost 25 years ago. And the sports guy, we talk about the episode. And we said Dolores, and he starts looking around quizzically. What does that rhyme with? It's like, oh my God, no, dude, we come on, really? And no, I have no idea. And we actually had to, there was this point where you're having this like, okay, you don't, okay, I'll pull you aside and I'll tell you, it was a joke from a TV show. We're at a party. We're not trying to, this, and he just did not know to get out of his own way. You know what I mean? He did not know enough to get out of his own way.
Yeah, your answer is kind of a use your imagination. You might figure that out.
Well, it's just, oh, for God's sakes. You just wonder, it's like, okay, how did you get so little in the social graces catalog that you just don't realize, okay, no. 952-946-6205. John from Minneapolis wanted to chime in, apparently was checking out the Sanford merger stuff. John, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Matt. I just wanted to tell you about a rally that was held at the medical school today, organized by the medical students opposing the Sanford-Fairview merger. And just by way of background, I'm a physician. I teach at the University of Minnesota Medical School, and I'm also the chair of Physicians for a National Health Program, Minnesota. And we are involved every year in educating our students about our healthcare delivery system and telling them about how broken it is and how much it needs reforming. And so 2 of the students I had last summer organized this rally, and it was a very strong rally. A lot of people turned out very enthusiastic about opposing the Sanford-Fairview merger, and they brought out all kinds of good reasons why this should not happen. So I just wanted to let you know that took place today. It was a very exciting and very enthusiastic rally and gathering.
Has Sanford said anything in regards to, John? Did Sanford say anything about maintaining union staffing levels at their hospitals?
No, and that's one of the concerns. We had a lot of nurses speaking today, and of course they were very concerned about the fact that Sanford really does not support particularly the nurses and the other support staff that is needed to run a hospital. And that's one of the big concerns.
I also know that with the University of Minnesota over there, that the training hospital that, okay. And I said this before, and I think this is the way you say it. I know a lot of people that come to Minnesota for healthcare. I don't know anyone that's ever gone to South Dakota for healthcare. And if we're going to maintain our top level quality of healthcare, I don't think handing us over to the cheaper by the dozen mentality of South Dakota is necessarily the way to do it. And yet that this is something that's a concern. Obviously, I'm presuming the University of Minnesota is very much against the idea of Sanford taking over the teaching hospital.
Well, yeah, exactly. And this is one of the major concerns of the medical students. There's no indication whatsoever that Sanford has any interest whatsoever in supporting academic medicine. And of course, University of Minnesota is one of the top academic medical schools in the country. We have really innovative ways of teaching our students, and there's a tremendous amount of research that's going on here that moves medicine forward. And so those are two of the major concerns. And the medical students are really concerned that a merger with Sanford that would keep Sanford involved with the University of Minnesota Medical School would in fact work to decline the stature of the University of Minnesota. And one of the big concerns is that the University of Minnesota ranks third in the country in terms of training people to be involved in rural healthcare. And of course, Sanford doesn't rank anywhere close to this either in terms of academic medicine or in terms of education.
Yeah, their idea. And John, thank you very much. John from Minneapolis, thank you very much. I appreciate the update on what happened there. Yeah, Sanford is, as much as they claim to be a nonprofit healthcare company, they're there for the, they're going to slash staff. That's executive bonuses. That's I would not let that merger go through, people. I would not let that merger go through. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Thank you, John. Brett, have you seen my beautiful balloon?
I have not seen your beautiful balloon. What are we talking about here? This isn't a Chinese spy balloon, is it?
Oh, it's I sent it over Montana. Get some. I actually, an outraged conservative said, "Can we find where it's at on Google Maps?" And I just sort of said, "Okay, so you do realize, they can look down on us, but they can always. I mean, I almost kind of like." Why is China doing this? Do they not have Google Maps? Do they not have Yahoo Maps or MapQuest over there? They can pretty much see everything they want to see. It's all there. I don't know. Do we blur? I mean, the military bases, I know some of the military bases there's some areas which are blurred out a little bit, but not much. So there's a balloon flying over the United States right now. A Chinese surveillance balloon that is causing concern for the U.S. intelligence community and dominating headlines is located over the central United States. It could be over Minnesota. I don't know. Press Secretary Brigadier General Pat Ryder did not disclose the specific location of the balloon, saying it will probably be over the United States for a few days, describing it as a maneuverable craft. We know that it's a surveillance balloon, Ryder said. We do not know that the balloon has violated U.S. airspace or international law, which is unacceptable. Ryder said the balloon, which was spotted over Montana on Thursday, poses no physical or military threat to the U.S. The press secretary noted that it was moving in an eastward direction, the potential for it to move towards Minnesota. Seriously, you're spying on Montana, the Dakotas, and Minnesota. Okay. You're trying to find out where all the remaining Perkins are? I mean, is that really the Chinese are after? Oh, man. Who doesn't like those Perkins burgers, huh? Delicious. The specific location has not been provided. The information is classified. I'm just not going to be able to talk about it, said Ryder. It is a pretty tiny little thing. It's up there at the high altitudes. It's estimated to be at 60,000 feet in the air. Now, I'm about to do a little math for you guys, all right? That's basically 11 miles up. Okay. It's the tallest thunderstorm clouds. It's up there at the troposphere. It's way up there. Asked why the U.S. hasn't shut down the balloon, Ryder says, we do recognize that any potential debris field could be significant and potentially cause civilian injuries or deaths or significant property damage. The balloon has changed its course, which is, again, why we're monitoring it, but that is as specific as I get. I can't believe that Canadians are going to be happy about it either. Although, what are you tracking? If you go into Canada, at this point, you're going to go in the boundary waters and go into moose. We're doing a moose inventory. Is this really what China is up to? U.S. government says that the balloon is maneuverable. The civilian airship was mainly for meteorological purposes. Chinese officials have told CNN it's a civilian airship used for research, mainly meteorological purposes. Affected by the westerlies with a limited self-steering capabilities, the steership deviated from its planned course. The Chinese side regrets the unintended entry into the airspace. I have zero doubt that it was intentionally launched here. I mean, I think that's now. I just don't quite understand where it's going to go. Sven Sundgaard at Bring Me the News weighed in on this. It was moving via the upper air winds. It would be somewhere within the basically it's going to track probably down through South Dakota into Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and then Virginia. And, my guess is the second it gets off the coast, it's going to get blasted out of the sky. Now, I want to take a few moments here to highlight the Republican response to this, which, for the record, is as stupid as you'd expect the Republican response to this to be. Now, Joe Biden has actually requested, should we shoot this down? It was the military. It's the Pentagon that says, no, we don't want to jeopardize U.S. citizens. Fair enough. And when you're talking about an 11-mile drop, I don't know what your impact radius is going to be, but I'm going to guess it's a few miles in each direction. So you've got to basically be very careful. If there's anyone down there, it could hit a house. And, then the question is, why did you shoot it down until it didn't get over the ocean? That sort of thing. But let's leave that aside for a second. Number one, every year on like the 4th of July and on New Year's, idiots in Los Angeles fire guns into the air, okay? The bullets come down. I know that they don't just disappear into the clouds like you're shooting at Jesus or something. No, they actually come down to the earth. I know, science. If you shoot this, you're not going to hit that. I'll get to that in number 2. You're not going to hit that balloon, but you could hit someone else on the ground. Don't shoot at the balloon. All right. Number 2, if you think your gun can shoot 11 miles, you should not have a gun. I can only imagine the dim-witted morons who are sitting there, I got it in my sights. I'm going to take it out. No, you're not. You're going to fire a bunch of rounds aimlessly into the horizon, and you could potentially kill somebody. That's actually happened.
What if they're on a hill, though? Maybe they'll have a better angle.
Oh, yeah. A few hundred feet higher. Yeah, that's only going to make it, 10 3/4 miles. Yeah, that gun's not going to do it. I mean, my God, you'd have like a field artillery weapon to get to a thing, which, the way the Republicans are going, everybody, founding fathers wanted everyone to have nuclear strike capabilities. No, do not shoot at the balloon, not only because you could kill someone else, but you also are not going to hit it. And if you think you can, you should not have a gun. Morons. And then finally this. I can just see the poor guy at like the University of South Dakota's meteorological program that's got to go on out there and put up a weather balloon for some data research on weather. And not only does the balloon get shot down, but he gets arrested by citizen's arrest. And this, you are fools. You don't know the difference between a weather balloon and a Chinese spy balloon. It's not skirting at 100 feet off the ground. It's 11 miles up. So before you go out there and start shooting down things which are not Chinese spy balloons, because they're way up there and your gun won't reach them, and because you could possibly kill somebody, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, I think is the official term. I believe that was Chester A. Arthur came up with that one. So, you just stop. I guarantee you. Well, and once again, what are they spying on? You've got Google Maps, you morons. You can see anything everywhere. Heck, through TikTok, they know where we're all at anyway. So, oh, by the way, God, what is it saying? It's okay. Yeah, this is meters. Yeah, it's going to get up to 16,000 meters. When it gets to the coast of the United States, the Navy is going to be out there and say, let her rip. Boom, down comes, and down goes Fraser. And it's going to be the end of it. I got to admit, the question I have is, did they launch it in Montana or did they launch it in Canada and it came across the border? Because I can't believe it came across Canada without anyone noticing it. Montana, on the other hand, dear God, I mean, it's like, the goats aren't going to call anyone. So, oh, there you go. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. You mean the spy balloon that's flying over the same airspace that Chinese airlines fly over? Boy, I wonder. Oh, they're catching all of our secrets. They know where every one of our Taco Bells are. Oh, no. Seriously, where's my phone? Here it is. I have my phone. Let's see. Taco John's. I'll type that in. I'll see if I can help out the Chinese here. Yeah, you want a Taco John's? You want that 6-pack in a pound? Have you ever done that, Brett? That's some eating right there.
Yeah, I don't know. You would think they would have like space satellites that would get better images of the military bases anyways, not a little balloon flying around. It makes no sense.
I'm kind of, like I said, come on, China. I thought you were supposed to be on par with us. Balloon technology? Is this part of your medical leeches program too? I mean, my God, man. Don't shoot at the damn balloon. Can we shoot one? No, I better not say that because then they'll accuse me of being mean to them. Because those little boo-boo kitties, the minute you start saying, they're the victim. Ugh. Stupid Republicans. All right. Well, we'll change topic to something a little less stressful, namely me screaming about no, hell no, we're not shipping water to the West. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Over 98% of people who experience sexual harassment or sexual assault in the workplace choose not to report it. Whether it's the fear of retaliation, belief that a bystander will report it, or worry about career advancement, at MJSB Employment Justice, we help employees take a stand. I'm Bree Johnson, partner at MJSB Employment Justice, a 50% women-owned law firm. If you feel unsure what to do following sexual harassment, we will be your voice to speak your truth.
Be heard. You deserve better. Contact us today for a free consultation at mjsbjustice.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. Over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Hi, this is Laura, and I want to tell you about my family's favorite thing. It's our wood stove. We bought it about 14 years ago from Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. And see, the wood stove has actually paid for itself because we can keep the main area that we live in toasty warm with this great moist heat. But more important than saving money, it has actually improved our lives. Having a fire simplifies life. It provides comfort. It sort of takes the chill out of winter.
I'm Peter Solak. In 1977, I started Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, and I experienced the simple joy of warming myself by a fire. I also realized that the place and the way we embrace fire has evolved in a diversity of forms and styles. So at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we have brought together the widest selection of our fireplace products and technical knowledge in the Twin Cities. Our mission is to use our knowledge to help you choose the design and function that is right for you and your home.
Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today and find the right fire for you.
If you're looking to save money on your home or building improvement project, check out Better Futures Minnesota's reuse retail warehouse in South Minneapolis. We carry salvage building materials such as cabinetry, flooring, plumbing fixtures, appliances, lighting, and more, saving you money and saving the planet by keeping these items out of the landfill, by giving them another life. Selections change daily, and we also take donations. Go to betterfuturesminnesota.com and look under Reuse Warehouse to learn more. Let us know AM 950 sent you.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Now, once again, I don't know who needs to hear this. The desert doesn't have a lot of water. I know. If you move there, you're going to have problems with water because it's a desert. I know. We are back to this again, this discussion that is happening because the Colorado River Basin's water scarcity is becoming an issue. Now, this is a story the Star Tribune put out from the Cedar Rapids Gazette, Brittany Miller. Waves of rainfall drenched California over the new year. Snowpacks in the Sierra Nevada have swelled to more than 200% their normal size, and snowfall across the rest of the Colorado Basin is trending above average too. There's much needed water as improved conditions in the parched west. Scientists and water policy experts warned of a claiming victory. About 60% of the region remains in some form of drought, continuing a decades-long spiral into water scarcity. The drought is so critical that this recent rainfall is a little like finding a $20 bill when you lost your job and you're going to be evicted from your house, said Rhett Johnson, an Arizona University professor of water law. So once again, if you go to Arizona State University, prepare to lose your job and be evicted from your house. But hey, $20. I think that's a major at Arizona State. Over the years, a proposed solution has come up over again, large-scale water diversions, including pumping Mississippi River water to the parched west. Studies and modern-day engineering have proved that such projects are possible, but require decades of construction and billions of dollars to do. Politics are even a bigger obstacle over our dead body. You're going to start shipping this water away. I want to repeat the argument that I made when I came back from visiting Utah and Arizona onto why, oh God, no, we should not do this. And it's really simple, actually. These people that live out there, I get it. You got to the party late as far as, you missed out on the good farmland that was in the Ohio River Valley and in Iowa and Minnesota. It starts getting a little sketchier in the Dakotas and Nebraska, and then all of a sudden you come up against these big mountains, and you still wanted to be farmers. So you came up with this genius idea of planting crops into the desert and growing crops there because, hey, it's sunny. Now, putting aside the fact that it's something I also mentioned, which was it is disturbing to see how Native American tribes of the West were so good at being able to do sustainable farming in these small creeks and river valleys that did exist there. And not only were they able to make good harvests, but they were also able to preserve and created, clay grain elevators in the walls of these cliffs. It was amazing what they did. And of course, white people got there and ran them off and took whatever, good land they could find and started trying to grow crops there themselves. But then, considering they still wanted to do this, they kept basically trying to grow crops. Now, I'll talk a little bit about other things here again, because I'm going to reiterate all what I said this summer. In Utah, we were staying in Kanab, Utah, which very cute town on the south side on the southern side of Utah. And to go to these parks, I'd have to go this one route north out of Kanab every day. And as I would go up there, I would go past a field it was just grass. It was just grass. And the guy was watering it. And he was watering it in the morning, and he was watering it at night. And he's watering it in the morning, he's watering it at night. And he's watering it in the morning, and he's watering it at night. And I just sort of said to myself, dear God, I mean, if you've got to water it that much just to get it to grow, maybe you shouldn't be trying to grow grass there. If you go to the Desert West, you will find a lot of communities. They've put in laws about lawns and stuff like that. But the reality is what you've got here is you have a very selfish mentality towards water in the desert Southwest. I got to Page, Arizona, which, kind of is a gateway there, and it's well worth a little trip there. Page is not that bad. But I got to Page, Arizona, and one of the things that was blowing my mind is this is the desert. I mean, you are in desert country out there in Page. And yet there are golf courses with green grass on them. And the first thing you say to yourself is, wait a second here. I thought you guys were having a water crisis. Well, but we can't. We have to make sure that the water, the golf courses, that we got to make sure they're watered. Do you? We drove past the Page, Arizona High School, which had a football field, which was grass, which they were watering. And I was like, you're trying to grow grass here in the desert. It doesn't work that way. It's the desert. What they want is an Ohio existence in the desert. And that's just not reasonable. They want to divert this water without really making the sacrifices they need to make. If you put in dramatic water restrictions for residents of the West, if you got rid of grass sports fields on high school fields and any kind of park field, like a baseball field or something like that, you got rid of grass on all of those. If you basically shut down the golf courses, yeah, it's a little bit of a sacrifice, but you want to live in the desert, you really shouldn't expect to have lush green forests growing everywhere. If you did these things, yes, maybe we could try to figure out some plan, but you guys have no intention of curbing your water use. What you're looking to do is basically try to steal other people's water so that you don't have to actually sacrifice at home. If I live in Florida, southern Florida, let's go down to Miami. I don't sit there and say, why don't we have snow? Why isn't the federal government shipping snow down here so we can have some snow because I want to do a snowball fight? We'd look at them and you say, you're nuts, man. You're living in southern Florida. Why would you want to have a snowball fight? I want one. Well, then move to Minnesota. Got tons of it up here. You have a great one. Watch out for ice balls. Come on. Jerk move, man. Jerk move. But still, you can have a snowball fight anytime you want up here. Knock yourself out. We have to look before we spend billions of dollars building a pipeline that to a bunch of people who just don't want to do what they need to do, except the fact they moved to the freaking desert. And say to themselves, well, maybe this wasn't the smartest idea we've ever had. And by the way, it should be noted, in Arizona, I believe it is, they've already sold off water rights in a lot of those places to corporations. If you're that stupid that you basically don't understand that you probably needed those water rights, as opposed to some corporation who's only going to sell them back to you at a much higher rate, well, then who's the stupid morons now? Don't expect the Midwest to bail your moron butts out, for God's sakes. This is stupid. You don't have people moving to the top of freaking mountains and then demanding that we build industrial-sized fans to blow oxygen up high so that they don't get lightheaded. You don't move to the desert and then have the audacity to say, well, there's not a lot of water here. Oh, God. Well, you got to move your cacti to Minnesota. I moved to Minnesota. There aren't any cacti up here. So I need Arizona to dig up all your cactuses and bring them up here and let us have them up here. So I can have cactuses here. Because I don't want to actually have to move to where the cactuses are at. I just want you to basically bring them to me because I'm a selfish little jackass that doesn't want to actually acknowledge my own poor choices if I want to see freaking cacti. Dear. The more you think about this, the more it's like, okay, losers, move. God, there's tons. Montana is great. I mean, the Chinese are mapping it out right now for retail. I mean, you can go. I guess that's what they're doing. So there's water in Montana, a lot of open space too. Knock yourself. You probably can get something to grow there even without having to water it constantly. No, you guys have not shown the maturity, maturity is probably the right word. The maturity for us to even think about something like this. And then and even if you did start showing maturity, the question then becomes, why are you guys living there? There's plenty of places. Move to Indiana. They're right-wing loon balls over there. Knock yourself out, man. And you're going to notice this thing right away when you get to Indiana. Trees and green and rain. No. You're not taking the Great Lakes. No, you're not taking the Mississippi River. No. You guys need to figure this out on your own because you were stupid enough to get yourselves into this situation. Well, you need to brighten yourselves up and figure out a way out of it because we're not going to bail you out because you moved to the desert. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Hey, John, I heard you're turning 65 this year. Time to start comparing your Medicare insurance options.
Oh, I am so overwhelmed with all the different Medicare companies and plan designs. I don't even know where to begin.
Really? I worked with compareyourmedicare.com and they made my Medicare decision seem easy.
Huh, really? Well, what do they do?
Compareyourmedicare.com represents several of the top Medicare insurance companies in Minnesota. A local licensed agent will help you compare Medicare plans to determine which products best meet your needs and budget.
Wow, that sounds a lot easier than going to a bunch of different Medicare seminars on my own.
Way easier. Just go to compareyourmedicare.com and request a free, no-obligation review. You can even schedule a virtual consultation from the comfort of your own home.
Hi, this is Jared with compareyourmedicare.com. We pride ourselves in serving our community's Medicare needs. Whether you're planning to retire early or work past age 65, we can guide you through how and when to apply for Medicare. Go to compareyourmedicare.com to schedule a consultation.
Hi, this is Laura. Listen to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. or anytime via podcast. Our individual health is connected to the health of each other and connected to the health of the earth. We know the problems with the dominant food system: climate change, deadening soils, nitrates in the water, factory farming, injustice, concentration of wealth. How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
The future of car shopping is here right now at Rudy Luther Toyota with Luther Direct. It's car shopping without ever leaving your home. Go to rudyluthertoyota.com, click on Luther Direct. Choose any vehicle in Rudy Luther Toyota's current inventory, either new or certified pre-owned. Then find out what kind of value you can get for your trade-in, review a payment plan you qualify for, and then customize it, and then set up a time for Rudy Luther to drop off your new vehicle and pick up your trade-in. It's that simple. Your new vehicle without any of the hassle. Check out Luther Direct today at rudyluthertoyota.com.
The Mary T family of companies serves seniors and people with a wide range of disabilities. We provide home health care, hospice services, and accessible rental housing. This is Mary T, and we'd like you to join us. We're hiring direct care professionals, CNAs, nurses, and other support services. Our mission is to provide quality, personalized services to meet the unique and evolving needs of the people that we serve. Join a Minnesota family-owned company that was founded on a history of care. Apply today at marytinc.com/careers.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 4, tonight partly cloudy with a temp rising to 9, and Saturday partly sunny with a high near 30. Now is the best time to switch to solar. The electrical grid has limited space, so don't delay before someone takes your spot. If you'd like to learn if solar is right for you, check out All Energy Solar's free winter webinar series. Visit allenergysolar.com/webinar to register for an upcoming event.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. You know, Brett, I've got a great idea for a business model. See if you can follow me here, okay? I am going to move to northern Arizona, and I'm going to raise farm fresh swordfish. Yeah, farm fresh swordfish in northern Arizona.
Plan that
What do you
can't
think?
fail.
I can't. All I need is a large, massive saltwater basin and, well, some swordfish, a few years, and I'll just start raking in the money. I don't. Tell me how stupid as that sounded. Tell me exactly how that's not any different than, I'm going to grow corn out here. Really? You missed Iowa. Go back. It's Iowa's back over that way. It's not going over the east. You'll see it. Just when you get all the corn and the pigs, you'll be. It's Iowa. There you go. You'll be happy there. And it's not like there aren't farms for sale down there. For goodness sakes. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Civil rights attorneys have filed a lawsuit against the city of Minneapolis and an officer over the death of 22-year-old Amir Locke, who was shot and killed during the no-knock search warrant executed last year. Locke was named in the search warrant, which was executed at apartment 701 in Bolero Flats, downtown Minneapolis, citing insufficient admissible evidence. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office and the Office of Attorney General Keith Ellison declined to file criminal charges against Officer Mark Hanneman, who fired shots and killed Locke, as well as other officers involved in the search warrant. Family members of Locke, including his mother and civil rights attorney Ben Crump, Antonio Romanucci, and Jeff Storms, held a news conference Friday morning to formally announce the update. The lawsuit was filed on Thursday, marking the 1-year anniversary of Locke's death. Our hearts are broken, and nothing will make it better. Amir was a beautiful 22-year-old man. His whole life would be to be lived, and we'll never know that his contributions could be made in a better place, his mother said in a statement. The suit claims Locke was awoken by police kicking the couch where he was sleeping. Body cam video of the shooting shows the SWAT team did not give any notice prior to entering the apartment. Within 9 seconds, as multiple officers yelled, Hanneman shot and killed Locke, who was lying on the couch under a blanket. He was also holding a gun, which his family said he had a permit for, but he did not appear to be pointing at any officers when the initial shots were fired. So once again, busted into an apartment, guy who was supposed to be there, legally carrying a gun, gunned him down, didn't even ask questions. The Minnesota lawsuit references a quote used by Rob Dorr, Senior Vice President of the Minnesota Gun Caucus. Mr. Locke did what many of us might do in the same confusing circumstances. He reached for illegal means of self-defense where he sought to understand what was happening, Dorr said. Imagine Dorr's really happy about being included in this. Search warrant. Well, maybe he is. I don't know. Search warrant is executed in connection to a homicide that happened in January in St. Paul. Locke was later identified as the cousin of the murder suspect, but he was accused of no wrongdoing. He was an innocent man that was gunned down in an apartment that he was entitled to be in, sleeping. The decision not to file charges of the incident was attributed to Locke's gun pointed in the direction of at least one officer, even though the body cam footage released doesn't even indicate that. Wells stated last year she was disgusted by the decision of both officers not to file charges. I'm not disappointed. I'm disgusted with the city of Minneapolis. Following the fatal shooting, Mayor Jacob Fry restricted no-knock warrants in the city. And apparently, don't you remember that officers are prohibited from applying for executing a search warrant, whether Minneapolis Police Department or on behalf of another agency. The policy does still carve out exceptions for exigent circumstances, meaning immediate entry is needed to prevent imminent harm or render emergency aid. I believe, didn't they try to get that no-knock warrant? And they basically were denied. And so they had to go shopping for it to try to get someone to give them the no-knock warrant. Isn't that what they thought they were going to do?
I believe that is true, yes.
Well, people of Minneapolis, guess what? You're going to have to pay a heck of a lot more money for Mayor Locke, an innocent man who was gunned down by outrageous police behavior. But if you're a fan of the cops, good news, I guarantee you that in the last year, Mark Hanneman has gotten tons of advice on how to stash as much of his money away so that he never really has to pay anything at all as far as the civil penalty. Minimal coins, scraps, nothing at all. There's going to be zero accountability for him because that's, once again, they know that basically the way the laws are written, because I've talked about this, and if Democrats, if you're looking to fix some things in Minnesota, it is a 50-50 call in the state of Minnesota that a police officer off duty could be drunk as a skunk in a bar, look at someone in the bar and say, I gotta go get my gun and shit. Get in their car, drive home, get there drunk, get the gun, drive back drunk, go into the bar, and say, I'm gonna shoot you. And as long as the officer, say the guy puts his hands up and he's got a cell phone in his hand, that officer, drunk as a skunk, off duty, can gun that guy down because all he has to do is at the moment he shoots, he has to say, I was scared. I was so scared. I was so scared. I was so scared. I was scared. And quite literally, the way the laws in Minnesota are written, that's almost a good enough, that pretty close is good enough excuse to basically, well, he was scared. What are you supposed to do? You know, maybe get police officers who aren't freaking whisk balls all the damn time, but I don't know, they were terrified. Or actually know how to actually, protect and serve as opposed to gun down while sleeping in their own house. But once again, there's more advice to these guys to, here's how you have to stash your money. Now you got to put things in, in your wife's name, and maybe you have to get divorced for her. So she's off and she's her own entity. You're divorced, but you know what? You can still have a relationship, but she's got all the money there and it's in her name. That way, when they come after you, they can't really get any money off of anyone else. So, they can get basically a part of your a part of this, maybe a part of your pension, maybe one car, but that's going to be it. That's all you're going to, you killed someone and the only thing they're going to get is a few bucks. That seems to be the modus operandi now when it comes to police shootings, is they try to make sure that the officer doesn't ever have to pay anything more than just lip service of, I was really sorry, but I was scared. I'm so scared. Hey, I got news for you, Krusty the Clown. Maybe you shouldn't have been a freaking police officer if you're so terrified all the time. Just saying. Because, someone who's scared all the time probably is going to suck at being an officer. Just going to say that. I was in the military. I was U.S. Army. And you don't have generally a lot of scared people. It's not, we got to send a bunch of guys to the front. Get all the scared people, send them up there. That'll be great. No, that's not how it works. Anyway, hello, Minneapolis. Are you listening? Hello? There you go. It's going to be 7 figures. It could very easily be 8 figures because of these clowns. 8 figures. 8 figures. Their incompetence, their lack of professionalism, their trigger happy ways, their too scared, their no knock nonsense. And yet, is the police union going to pay the $50 million that the city is going to have to pay? Is the police union going to do that? No. It's funny now when that check is due, all of a sudden I'm going to just look down here at my face. I don't know. We don't want to comment on a legal case. Yeah, you sure don't, do you? Sure don't. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. One last little story here. You know how Republicans like to complain about, hey, big government spending, we shouldn't be doing this. Well, then the city of Austin, I think you need to basically be saying thank you to the Democrats. The first part of Interstate 90 in Minnesota was built in 1961. The bridges have not been replaced in a 5-mile stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bridges are going to get replaced in Austin. MnDOT officials say it's rare for a place like Austin with 26,000 residents to have so many bridges, let alone needing to replace them all at once. A corporate giant like Hormel Foods undoubtedly had a hand in getting those bridges built more than 60 years ago. City officials began talks with MnDOT in 2014 to replace the aging infrastructure. Minnesota recently secured a $25 million federal grant for the project, which Doherty sees freezing up some state money for the road and bridge work elsewhere. MnDOT officials have spent a better part of 5 years meeting with community members, drawing up plans to do this. So a recent $25 million federal grant. Thank you, Joe Biden. And you know who I don't see here? Finstad. That's right. I don't think this is a Finstad bill. And even now that the Republicans are in charge of the House, I don't think they're going to be passing bills that are going to help people. No, if you are a Republican and you're in southern Minnesota, do not give Brad Finstad, when he shows up there with his big scissors to cut some ribbons at bridges and saying, "We did it." He didn't do a damn thing. This was courtesy of Governor Walz's MnDOT. Federal government giving the grant, those would be Democrats. You're welcome. Democrats, the Democrats say you're welcome. Just don't allow the Republicans to take credit for it, because the quality of life that you have is not due to Republicans. The quality of life you have is due to the Democrats. The Republicans just like to take credit for that. See, they lie. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's take a break. Come on back. I got some Friday music for us. It is the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Let Next Chapter Booksellers help you find the perfect Valentine's Day gift for your significant other. After all, books last longer than flowers and are better for you than chocolate. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making personal recommendations, no matter the taste of your special someone. Plus, they have beautiful cards to add a little something to your gift. So sweeten this year's Valentine's Day with something thoughtful from Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Hi, I'm Kelly Tanky.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Tune in to AM 950's newest show, Searching for Service, a show designed to help current and future Rotarians find purpose through service.
We are dedicated to sharing stories, experiences, and opportunities for those searching for purpose, value, and meaning.
But more importantly, connection through community. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. or anytime via podcasts.
It's time to stop searching and start serving.
Progressive change doesn't just happen. It takes dedication and a lot of hard work. 25 years ago, the Data Bank pioneered a new generation of software tools for progressive organizations here in Minnesota. Since then, thousands of organizations have used the Data Bank to create progressive change. Today, the Data Bank continues to help progressive organizations like AM 950. To have the Data Bank help your organization build capacity and create more change, text CHANGE to 612-540-0500 or go to thedatabank.com. The Data Bank, a quarter century of dedication and hard work for progressive organizations.
There's one last little story here, and I got to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm glad about this. There's a story in the Strip today about the Friends of the Falls unveiled the new leader and renderings for the Mississippi River land adjacent to St. Anthony Falls on Friday. Now, this is the area where the lock is. So it's basically on the west side of the river, right where it comes, the Stone Arch Bridge comes on in there. It's a significant area for Native Americans. And it's got a lot of spiritual connection and stuff like that, and they want to give that land back to the Native American tribes, which I think is fan-freaking-tastic, if you ask me. That's, first of all, let's be honest, it's a bit of an eyesore now. They stopped using that lock and dam because of the invasive carp species. They didn't want to get it up the river, so now you basically have an empty lock dam that's not getting used. It very looks, very Last of Us look to the thing. I think it'd be wonderful. I mean, to have hand in hand down there, the Native American history and interpretive center, monuments, talk about the spiritual importance of the island by the Native Americans right next to the historic mill district. I think that's a wonderful idea. So yeah, give it back to them. And by all means, educate us. The only way we can fight the stupidity is good education. So I'll post all the stories a little bit later on. Brett, it is Valentine's month now, so I'm going to try to do a little, maybe some lovely songs, some lover songs that we can play in on the Friday music here, at least for this week and next week. How about that?
Well, let's do it.
Well, not for you. I mean, I'm going to learn from my South Dakota story, not with coworkers, not again. All right. Oh, the Pet Shop Boys. I always enjoyed this one. You are always on my mind. We'll let this take us out this week. You have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful, weekend, Saturday, Sunday. We are going to be back on a Monday. Native Roots Radio comes up here in the 6 o'clock hour. Have a good one till Monday. See ya.
Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could. Little things I should have said and done, I never took the time. You are always on my mind. You are always on my mind. Maybe I didn't know you. All those lonely, lonely times.